And then this other part of flamenco is super profound that just reminds you of this past. You didn't know that you had these roots that maybe they don't really go with like where you were born or where you were raised, but you can just feel like you're at home here, wherever you are.
Bueno, estábamos aquí de TED y decidimos hacer un videíto explicando un poco qué era el flamenco, pero realmente como intentando explicárselo a un extranjero que ve por primera vez flamenco. Así que hemos decidido grabarlo en un vídeo directamente. Así que, ¿cómo le explicarías el flamenco a alguien que jamás lo ha visto y lo ha vivido? Ah, y tiene que ser en inglés.
There's two types of flamenco that I like to think about. There's one that's just like fiesta type, and then there's the other one that's this really deep and profound part of flamenco. The fiesta one is I guess maybe the most popularized form of flamenco, that everybody is in a circle, people are doing palmas, they're clapping their hands, and everybody's part of it. And you see that people are really interacting with each other. People are dancing, and the singer is singing something, and then the dancer reacts to that, and then the singer reacts to that. So it's just like this retro feeding of like people just talking with each other all the time. And the guitarist is just like they're also like taking his part in it as well, and then the palmas are also like really helping out too. So that's like the happy and like kind of just everybody feeling together. And then this other part of flamenco is super profound, and it's this, like, I guess the Arabic part of flamenco, you could say that there's these like ayeos, like when you hear somebody doing a crying almost, that just reminds you of this past that maybe you didn't know that you had these roots that that maybe they don't really go with like where you were born or where you were raised, but you can just feel like you're at home here, wherever you are. And also just like when you start to realize what they're singing about, a lot of the lyrics, these traditional ones, are super about being outcasts. And I think a lot of us can relate to not fitting in somewhere. And I really, I think that those feelings and emotions, like even though you might not understand Spanish, really hit you on a level that like, wow, I can feel what this person is trying to transmit when they're singing or when they're playing the guitar or when they're dancing. So yeah, I think that this whole, when I'm listening to flamenco, I just really feel like all of these different juxtapositions of like, just like this dark and then this light and this suffering and then this pleasure. And I really like the way that you can just feel all of these different emotions when you're listening to flamenco.
Hombre, es interesante porque acabas de describir como dos cosas que realmente los extranjeros nunca veis. Y es que, por un lado está la fiesta gitana, ¿no? La primera, que es así como donde todo el mundo canta, se involucra, ¿no? En familia, ¿no? Para festejos y todo eso. Y por otro lado, pues el canto de adelante, ¿no? Como más hondo, más profundo y todo eso. Y eso un extranjero nunca lo ve. O sea, cuando un extranjero viene a España, ¿qué es lo que ve? O sea...
For me, like when you think of flamenco, like when I was living in the States, it was like the castanets, like that tria, like with the, also like the huge, like the polka dots and like the huge dresses that the women wear, and then maybe also like the guy like, you know, stomping his feet a lot. So yeah, those are like the stereotypical things that you see of flamenco and that you expect. And then even right now, when knowing more about flamenco, the castanets are actually not from flamenco. They're actually from southern Spain, but from the folklore of southern Spain. And people can do castanets sometimes, but it's not like castanets go with flamenco. So yeah, there's a lot of stereotypes.
Sí, porque tú estás como Tú estás en Latinoamérica y realmente en Latinoamérica, en América en general, pero realmente te llega lo primero, ¿no? Que son rumbas, sevillanas, ¿no? Ese tipo de flamenco pues un poco más festero, que no es tan profundo, ¿no? Vienes a España y te dicen, no, es que eso, claro, eso no es flamenco tampoco. Y entonces te llevan a un tablao, ¿no? Y entonces vas a un tablao pero tampoco terminas de ver como el flamenco, pero entonces, ¿qué es flamenco, no? Por un lado ya tenemos la fiesta, por otro lado tenemos el cante pa'lante y por otro lado ya el baile. ¿Eso es flamenco? ¿No es flamenco?
Yeah, a lot of people think that the flamenco dancing is a perversion of flamenco, right? Like they think that the dancers were basically created so that there could be some entertainment for people that don't really understand flamenco music. So like here's a dancer and everybody will be like, wow, like there's this dancer. So I mean, of course I think that flamenco dancing is specific to flamenco, but what do you think, Miguel? Do you think dancing is a...
A mí me encanta el baile, lo siento. O sea, yo soy un forofo del baile. Me encanta y No, cuando llegué a Madrid lo primero que vi fue un recital de Estrella Morente. Estrellita. Me encantó. Y después ya vi baile, ¿no? Entonces como se vive el baile y como te sorprende, ¿no? Esos taconeos, esa fuerza que tienen las mujeres y los hombres, o sea, todo es como muy enérgico, muy profundo, ¿no? Como que el baile también es la expresión más que la gente reconoce más, ¿no? También por el vestuario, por las formas del baile, ¿no?
Yeah.
Y sin embargo, creo que en España hay detractores del baile y, o sea, gente que le gusta y que no le gusta.
I think also right now, thinking about how I got into flamenco, it was through the dance. So you'd have like people in the States, like they're dancing and it's like, oh, like that's so pretty, I want to dance as well. And you barely look at the guitarist or the singer. You think like, ugh, like the singer, wow, like that person's just screaming. And then like the guitarist, like, okay, but like there's the dancer. So I think the dancing is a really good kind of a transition, so that people can be like, oh, that's interesting, like what's flamenco? And then maybe like the next level is kind of like, ooh, the guitar, like that's a pretty sound, and like, and then like once you're really into flamenco, you're like, ooh, I really like how that singer is like screaming and crying on stage and like doing all these different weird things with their voice, so, yeah.
Bueno, ¿y ahora qué pasa con la música moderna, no? Porque a veces también hay como que encasillarla, ¿no? Tenemos que decir esto es pop, esto es rock, esto es fusión, esto es folk, ¿no? Esto es flamenco. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Le ponemos unas palmas y ya es flamenco? ¿O cómo funciona ese pequeño mundillo?
Yeah, I think defining flamenco right now and what's modern flamenco is a very heavily debated topic. I think like whenever there's a new star in flamenco that is maybe like using their bass as like flamenco traditional melodies and palmas, hand clapping, and then also like the flamenco guitar. I think that if they're imitating somebody from the past, then it's easy to call them that these people are doing flamenco. But I remember like hearing about how Paco de Lucia and Camaron, a singer and a guitarist, that right now everybody thinks like they're the best, or maybe not the best, but like one of the best flamenco musicians. In their time, they were very avant-garde, so I think that it's always kind of like, you know, it's like this new thing that they're doing, and then right now, it's been about 40 years, no? Like since they were around, and right now we can call them, oh yeah, that was flamenco, and then, so I think that it's, I guess only time will tell, like what is really, truly, like what people will label as flamenco, or that's like a new offshoot, like what some people are doing. what do you think is really flamenco and what's this modern stuff that people are doing with flamenco?